Mrs. Lindquist. So today we're going to talk about interval notation, but before we do that, we're going to talk about some vocabulary that you need when dealing with functions. So when we talk about function notation, a lot of times you'll see function notation written as f of x. Sometimes we'll see h of x or t of x, other letters. F is just the name of the function, and x is your input variable. So when you're dealing with functions, we talk about domain and range. Domain has to do with your inputs, so your x value, and it's the set of all possible x values, or all possible inputs. And then we have the range, which is denoted y, or as f of x in function notation, and that is all your possible y values, or outputs. So every function has a domain and a range. Okay, so let's talk about how do you read a graph. So when you read a graph, it's the same thing as reading a book. You read from left to right. So what does it mean to be increasing? Well, you can think of increasing as positive slope. So it means as you read the graph from left to right, the y values are going up or getting bigger. So then decreasing is like negative slope. So the y values get smaller or decrease as you go to the right. So what is an extreme value? So if you think of a quadratic possibly that opens down, you can see we have a maximum y value here at the vertex. So an extreme value is just the maximum or minimum y value. Now some graphs don't have a maximum or minimum y value. For example, a line, the y values go up forever and also go down forever. So let's talk about end behavior. End behavior is what the graph does on the left and right ends. So let's take a look at a couple examples. So our first example again is a quadratic that opens down. So we can see that our ends both are pointing down. So both ends are going down to negative infinity. So our end behavior would be down, down. And later on we'll use limit notation to represent this in a better format. So both ends are pointing down. Not to be confused with increasing or decreasing. Because if you think about increasing or decreasing, as you get on the graph on the left, as you can see here, as we go to the right, the y values are increasing until we hit this maximum point, and then after that they began decreasing. So we have increasing and then decreasing. But the end behavior is down, down because both ends are pointing down. So the second example is a graph of exponential decay. So in this example, we can see that our left end is going up to positive infinity, and our right end is getting closer and closer to the x-axis. So the y values are approaching 0. So we'll do more of this in future lessons. But in terms of increasing, decreasing, when we read the graph from left to the right, we can see the y values are always decreasing, decreasing all the way. Okay, well that's the end of part 1. In part 2, we'll talk about interval notation.